Hi folks, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Bright and sunny for a change. There we go. Right, my name is Pete. Welcome and thank you very much for coming down this Saturday afternoon. I'd like to just ask, please, we have a load of you which has managed to join us, which we're very appreciative of. If you haven't registered with Laura as you came in, please remember to do so. You will miss out on the test drives and the best test drive of your life. That's the idea behind it. So without further ado, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what we have to expect itinerary-wise. We're going to have a massive introduction from one of the nicest people in the automotive industry. Len's going to be here. Anybody who knows will agree entirely with me. And then we're going to... He paid me a lot to say that. We're going to launch into a quick 4 or 5 minutes worth of presentation on the screens behind me, just to show you the background of the EV6. And the design engineers, etc., that run through it. And then you're back with yours truly. Now, folks, I've already had to put it out there that there's a few rugby jokes coming, so I'll apologise before they come out, but it's a little bit of fun. That's what we try and do. And then you're with me for about 10 minutes or so, something like that, and we go through a couple of really pertinent features on the vehicle and some good ideas to try and send you on your way, on the way directional towards those sales desks. That's the idea. So I'm not going to push anymore. I'm going to hand you over to Len. Thank you for coming down, folks.
Thank you, Peter. Just before we start, just a few house rules. Basically, there is going to be some flashing lights, no firework, but just flashing lights. So if anybody's careful about that, they can go to the back. We have some food also at the back of the showroom afterwards if you want to help yourself with some food. And also fire exits, just so that you're aware in case fire alarms go off for any reason. There's an exit that way, and there's also an exit if you follow down the side of this, and the showroom doors are open as well. So just again, from a safety point of view, just to point those out for you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming and welcome to the launch of a very special vehicle, the all-new Kia EV6. My name is Len Hallows and I'm the Managing Director here at TMS. Peter, as you know, he introduced himself. He's a product specialist and actually works for Kia Direct. So he doesn't work for me, but he travels along with this package of the EV6, and actually his product knowledge is absolutely fantastic. So if you've got any questions, he's the guy to actually ask. We're here today to be one of the first people to see Kia's exciting newest electric vehicle in the range. The EV6 represents a change in the brand Kia, and we want you, our loyal customers, and those of you we haven't met before as well, to feel you can connect and engage with us at every step as we move forwards together. Before we get on with the unveiling the car to you, I'd just like to share a few words with you about how important this car is and what it means not just for the future of Kia, but the future of the industry as well. With the EV6, Kia wanted to design a dynamic electric car that was not only beautiful to look at and fun to drive, but which also has one of the fastest charging times and a range of over 300 miles on a single charge, and which is exciting to own. To achieve this goal, Kia purpose-built a brand new platform. You will see the result for yourself when we reveal the EV6. The EV6 is a car that will change most people's motoring life with electricity, and this is just the start of a journey of 11 full electric vehicles Kia intend to launch by 2027. Once we reveal the EV6 today, I am sure you will all be as excited as I was when I first saw the car. So please do keep in touch with us to be one of the first to drive the car as well. Our own demonstrators will be arriving on site within the next couple of weeks, so if you wish to book a demonstrator time for yourself during this evening, just seek out one of the staff and they'll be able to book that for you. We are extremely proud to reveal this fantastic car at TMS today. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Kia EV6.
Movement inspires us as a brand. And that inspiration is what gives birth to everything we do. We strongly believe that both brand and design need to work together in symmetry to rise towards a future that will allow us to leave a mark. Opposites united is the definition of that mark. We celebrate nature's perfection and simplicity, and we pay homage to it in everything we do. We want to share with you our vision in which nature and modernity can coexist. We want you to witness that even in moments of tension, you can find a sense of serenity. We believe calm is the moment before the creative tension is unleashed. We want to create memorable and emotional moments in life for you by giving technology a soul. And we're using that technology to put people first. We want you to feel that even through logical reasoning, you can discover joy. We combine them to create a unique Kia experience. Finally, we want to design vehicles that symbolize the power of speed. We define the meaning of progress with inventions and innovation that inspire the way you think, move, and live. Opposites United is the inspiration for our designers here at Kia. With that in mind, we strive to create the time and space to inspire you.
Electricity. It moved us forward. And now it's here once again to inspire us so we can move freely, get inspired, and create new ideas. The Kia EV6, inspiring every journey.
Together for the EV6, folks. So many of you are very privileged to be able to see one of only 2 vehicles in the country at the moment. So it really is a preview of one of the most spectacular cars that Kia have ever produced. You will have noticed that the badging has changed, the rebranding of the whole of the company. And one of the things to take on board from this is how serious Kia are being about taking electric vehicles seriously. And some of the figures that I'm going to portray with you or share with you this evening will hopefully, either if you haven't taken that huge leap of faith already into the electric market, it may just spark that little bit of motion to get that way. So folks, I wanted to just point out some of the crux or the criteria that hold people back with electric vehicles, because up until now, when you're talking about a petrol or diesel car, you never gave it a second thought about refueling until about a week ago when that orange light came on. We never even gave it second thoughts. There we go, and it's just so happens we're right next door to one right now. So that helps my argument quite quickly. However, how about this for an idea? That orange light comes on and we get ready to go for it and refuel. So how many petrol stations do you think there are in the UK? And if you know the answer, can you hold off for 2 seconds? Just for a matter of poetic license. Can you give me an idea? Just throw some numbers out at me.
8,500.
8,500, good start. Any further advances on that?
20,000.
25,000, absolutely. Folks, you're welcome to come over this side. You can see a little bit more. There's more than enough room. If you can't see from the cheap seats at the top of the stands, you're more than welcome to come forward a little bit. You get closer to see the vehicle. So folks, we're at 25,000 at the moment as a top end on your number of filling stations. Do you think we could go higher than that? I think we can. So throw some numbers, folks.
About 800,000.
800,000, I think a little bit less than that, but I'll take that as a good bid. You've bought the car, sir. That's definitely yours. So, folks, right, let me surprise every single one of you, bar one, who got it nearly spot on. And that's because he's done his research, haven't you, sir? I thought so, absolutely. There are 8,300 to be exact, and that's quite a startling number when you suddenly think that we don't even give it a second thought. We know that there's a filling station close by. So in a similar light, and I'm putting this out there as similar, we have more than 55,000 charge points for electric vehicles in the UK. Now, I know a lot of you are going to come back with, we haven't got that many superchargers out there, etc. Just hold the horses for a few seconds. Because with 55,000 opportunities for you to charge a car like this, hopefully you can only imagine at the time when you needed to refuel or recharge such a vehicle, it will be on one of those long journeys. Because this car now has over 300 miles of range. And if you go with the rear-wheel drive version, that's 328 miles of range. So I've just given you a hint, this is the all-wheel drive version. So with 300 miles of range, not many of us, or quite a few opportunities, are going to be required to go further than that. You're going to need to charge more than that when you're on your travels. So I wanted to try and see if we can make an opportunity come to light, such as with your car at the moment, when you've been traveling for a few hours, we're supposed to stop after 2 and have a little coffee break or a little bit of relaxation, get your thoughts back together. That's what we get forced towards, because those little coffee warnings come up on our thing, take a break on our dashboard on the new cars now. But if I said to you, if you do partake of the most frequented drinks in the business, which is a cup of tea or coffee, when you stop off for your time, would it be fair to say that you use how many minutes? This is your turn again to fire some numbers back at me.
20.
20 minutes, I'll take that all day long. But if I try and beat that and I say to you, would it take 4 or 5 minutes for you to get a cup of tea or coffee? So even if you didn't refuel your current car, 4 or 5 minutes would take about the time for you to get that cup of tea or coffee. Would that be okay? Magnificent. And those of you that have done your keyboard warrioring, that's a very affectionate term for those of you that have done your homework. In 4.5 minutes, folks, we can put 62 miles of range on this vehicle. But you can't drink your cup of tea or coffee that fast, can you? Because if you do, you will suffer from a syndrome called leather tongue. Now that's a special one, and I'm sure a couple of you have tried that once or twice before. But I'd like to just try and stretch it that little bit further to what you were talking about now, time-wise. You said 20 minutes. If I can cut that down by a further 2 to 18 minutes, in 18 minutes, folks, how much charge can I put in this new car here? 80%, did I hear? Absolutely. So we've got 80% of a maximum range of 328 miles. Folks, what does that turn out to be? Come on, you mathematicians out there, I know you're ready to go. 250 straight out of the starting. Fantastic. So you're going to be first up to come and have a look at this car, because that seems to be the only way I can entice people to engage so far. So yes, 250 miles, folks, in 18 minutes. Do you think that's going to impact your drive or your daily excursion? 18 minutes. And that's what you're looking at now. Technology has changed drastically, and that's what we're trying to do. So there is one other manufacturer out there other than our sister company. Does anybody know who else has 800 volt technology? Porsche, exactly right. So isn't it nice to be paralleled with such a technologically advanced manufacturer that's out there, that people aspire towards those vehicles? And this is what we have right now on your doorstep. So this is really quite exciting for me. And there is one other manufacturer out there, and I think I've seen a few cars running around, and it begins with a big T. Folks, we've managed to join forces with them to be able to use their supercharged network. Now folks, that's a game changer. Because everybody up to this point, when I was talking about 55,000 charge points, you were getting ready to run at me with all sorts of abuse. I know, I've been here a little while and that's what's happened. But folks, that is the game changer. And what they've been looking for, or what's helped us, is some of the technology that I'm going to share with you very shortly. So isn't it nice? If 18 minutes worth of charge, you sit back in our new zero gravity environment, the seats that recline all the way back so that you can totally and comfortably enjoy that coffee. Watch the center screen, which is your infotainment screen of 12.3 inches. And also in front of the driver can see how well you've driven up to that point with a screen of also 12.3 inches. It's a very pleasant place to be in this interior. And I'm sure you folks will agree with me very shortly when you get a chance to get up close and see exactly what we're talking about. Because the floor is absolutely flat. There is no center tunnel anymore, which means there is vast amount of space. We've reduced the squab on the front seats by 30%, which means that you have an increased leg room when you're sitting in the back. Folks, you will see that straight away when you get in the car. And when you first looked at this vehicle, you saw that angular, muscular look on such a beautiful car. And you would never have believed that we term this as a coupe-styled SUV, and we're calling it a CUV. So as soon as I put out the wording SUV, people immediately think that there's utility vehicle. Does that look like a utility vehicle to you? But when I turn around and I say to you that the boot in this car is bigger than the Kia Sportage, that's over 500 litres of boot volume. And folks, model dependent, we have a little bit more storage in the boot as well. The big one that I want to talk about is what's hidden under the bonnet. Now I did mention this is the all-wheel drive version, which means that we have a further 20 litres of storage space under the bonnet. Now this is the big one that you've all been waiting for. Folks, you recently heard that the Springboks beat you, the Lions that is, at rugby. So that 20 litres, folks, is more than enough space for me to store my celebratory drinks. All is not lost. Don't think I'm promoting drinking and driving. That's not the situation at all. However, we do a rear-wheel drive version, folks, with 50 litres of extra storage space up the front. Now this is where it gets interesting, folks. You don't need more than 50 litres of commiseration drinks. So I apologize for these really poor jokes, but I'm trying to install those numbers in your heads to try and come up with a funny one. So hopefully that's landed in the right place. The other type of technology that we need to look at are things like the new head-up display that we have. This is one of the largest in the industry, but it's not just a large head-up display. It's an augmented reality head-up display. What does that mean to all of us as drivers? Well, let me explain to you, and I'm going a bit Italian on you with my hands. I apologize straight out. But the closer you get to your turning points, you will find the head-up display and those signals get closer towards you. So no longer do you have to change your glasses to see what the yardage is before you turn. They get closer in the screen directly in your line of vision. You don't need to double check looking at your sat nav to see exactly where you are turning. They get closer and closer to you. Folks, less tiring, safer, and of course, it just is so easy because it's directly in your line of vision. So if you haven't ever experienced something, please folks, have a look. It does work, and you will be able to test it when you get in a few minutes. It's nice to throw out a lot of technological advancements on it, but what about the sustainability of us as a manufacturer and working for everybody that's here? You may have seen on the screens a little earlier, there was a plastic bottle floating on the ocean. And everybody that's trying to do as much as they can do for our planet and do as much for recycling that we can do, this may resound very shortly. We taking 111 plastic bottles out of the ocean to produce one seat cover in this vehicle. Now folks, that's something to be proud of. We use the same recycled materials to line the door pockets in the doors. and some of it also gets resynthesized and used in the carpeting in the vehicle. And not only are we doing that for sustainability, we're listening to your preferences coming through, because everybody's changed. You can see this was on a meat diet, and I can only apologize, I didn't have access to that type of information when I was a youngster. But people now are preferential towards vegan options. Folks, this resounds with lots of you, because we now offer you a vegan leather option. That's the synthetic leather. This is exactly what we are using on the steering wheel in this car. Please, folks, have a look at it and compare it to your current vehicle if you have the full fat leather option. And then feed it back to me and say, yes, that's a good option, or no, it isn't. Please be listening all the time. It's really quite something when I'm talking about technology, because this is one of the things that's stood us apart from other manufacturers. And this is a, how can we call it, accessory to the massive 77.4 kilowatt hour battery that we have in this car. And that is the vehicle to load feature. We've got a huge power bank on it, and it's great if we can use it for other options, such as watching your weekend rugby on a massive screen like I'm showing you behind you. And that's via an adapter that plugs into our rear charge port. And that will power up anything up to 3.6 kilowatts. So that's fairly healthy, hopefully you'll agree. But the big one, and I mentioned a little earlier, the big T, it offers vehicle-to-vehicle charging. So you are going to become friends with the Tesla owners. There, I've said it. Because you have an opportunity, and I'm not just going to stop there. Any other vehicle, electric vehicle that's out there that needs a little bit of charge, we can do vehicle-to-vehicle charging. Folks, that's what makes it a massive change in what electric vehicle technology has done. We have the first time a car in electric form that can actually have a towing capacity that you can be proud of. It is 1,600 kilos, 1.6 tons. Folks, that's the largest single axle caravan on the market. And if you, like me, come from a racing background, that's a racing car and a trailer behind your new EV6. And while I'm talking about that, you've just seen a little bit of fun on our screens now. The GT, which is due to land next year, the same time as we are now. We have 577 brake horsepower. It does 0 to 62 in 3.5 seconds. And folks, the one you've all been waiting for, it has a drift mode. Now, if you don't know what to do with that, folks, I offer my services free of charge to show you how that works. But I ain't paying for the tires, I'm sorry. Great, I'm glad everybody accepted that one. It's better than my rugby jokes, I think. So folks, that's quite a nice little situation for us to be in when we're looking at such a nice car. I'm going to leave you with one safety feature which I think is really pertinent. There's a couple of youngsters with us tonight which are our new ambassadors in a couple of years to come. And it's so nice for them to come down and have a look at cars like this with their parents, because this resounds, especially with me having two youngsters as well. And we never had this. We had child locks back then. These are more advanced now. And why I'm saying that, the safe exit system uses the blind spot technology on the car, and it prevents the internal door handles from being opened from the inside if there is any obstruction on either side there. So folks, this means if you have ever had in your driving careers that momentary lapse of concentration where you've opened your door without looking in your rearview mirrors and nearly had somebody take the door off, this means you keep your nice, shiny new EV6 in one piece. It looks after your occupants absolutely. And the upside to it is that you keep Mr. Deliveroo on his travels towards delivering the pizza next door. Folks, I really apologize for these very poor jokes, but I'm trying to get through some of these systems in a little bit of a laughable way. Folks, I really do appreciate you putting up with me. Thank you so much. I will ask you, if you haven't gelled your hands before you've come in this afternoon, if you'd be kind enough just to do that so we don't spread any germs in the car. And if you have come in late, please could you do me a big favor and book in with Laura. So that way we can make sure that when the demonstrators arrive, we can get you a test drive booked in for that purpose. Folks, thank you so much for putting up with me. Please come forward and have a look at the new EV6. Thank you.